This is the Rarest Zenith Transoceanic. It was made for the Korean War, and what happened was they signed a treaty, so only about 5,000 of these were made. Let's turn this on.
And knocks off Wake Forest 56-27, a game that's...
And I've had this stored for 9 years, which was the last time I did a video on it. So I thought it was about time to do another video.
4420. Hey, thanks for listening to this hour of Today's Homeowner with Danny Lifter.
And it still works. We've got the antenna up here.
And that would be a common theme in this one, and something Dave Clawson has talked about all week.
Okay, I'm going to go through a slideshow on this, but just to give you perspective what this looks like. There's some manuals there, spare fuses, suction cups for the AM antenna, and you'll notice that the tubes are locked down. Now I have that tube over there put away. I've got a resistor substitute on that one, so I don't burn up the original. And what we've got down here, of course, is where the batteries would go. And we have the original tube. This would be where the D cells would go. And here's where the other batteries would plug in. And then this would plug in right here. I have a lot of slides on this radio because I wanted to document this radio. So I'm going to be going through the slides pretty quickly, so you can always stop the video to take a closer look. Of course, this is the front, and we've got a closer look at the top front of this. And yes, I do have a crack in the center of this thing. I stabilized it with some epoxy on the back side, and in 9 years it hasn't changed. Here's a look at the controls in front. You can see the left red slide is treble, then we got voice, alto, and bass. And this is the right side of the radio, where you can select the frequencies or the bands that you want to listen to. Again, the overall front, it's a nice looking radio. And notice that the knob centers are black. That's on purpose. A regular one of these has got gold or brass in the center. Now here's the antenna for the short wave, and notice that it is not shiny, and that's on purpose also. The antenna for this radio should look like this. Okay, here's the back of the radio. A closer look. It's nice and clean, and as we heard, it sounds really good. Here's the manuals. Here's a look at that plug and the battery plug also. Now this is something else that's important on this radio. The chassis should be stamped USA. We'll see a closer picture of that a little later. It's interesting, the voltages here that you can set this to. Of course, I have it set at 110 AC/DC, but you can set it for 220 DC or 220 AC. There's that closer look of the stamp on that chassis. Now here's the manuals, the one on the left. That is the radio previous to this radio. They hadn't made the specific manual for this radio yet, so what's on the right is the supplement. And here's a closer look at the supplement. There is the schematic for this radio. I might try and take a better picture of that and clean it up a little bit sometime. There's a much closer look at the plug. There's where the D batteries go. And a much closer look at the voltage settings. Now the front that I've got labeled at the bottom there, that's the push buttons for the band switch. And I've got a closer look at that. Here's an overview of the chassis. Here's the front without the radio, or the cabinet, I mean. The speaker looks pretty good. Now here is the first look underneath the radio. Notice that some of the parts have been sprayed. Now we'll take a closer look at this. Now if this radio stops playing, believe it or not, I am not going to fix it before I move on. That switch, that rotary switch that you see on the left side, that's what changes from AC power to DC power when you plug the cord in on the top. That switch is thrown. Okay, it's another look, and I'm glad I got this shot because that string will break someday. There's the back of the speaker, and of course we got a phone jack for headphones, and if you look in the lower right, that's where the plug plugs in at the top of the chassis. That switches from AC use to DC use. Another look at the same thing with the instructions or the label. Much closer look. And again, the USA stamp. And we're done. Thanks for watching.